there's different denominations of Christianity.
There are.
And some of them really love tongues. And
Yes.
some of them really hate it.
That's correct.
So which ones are those? Which are they?
Good question. Yeah.
Which denominations
Yes.
believe in speaking in tongues and which denominations don't?
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So for the ones, and this is all right. You do have some that are like, all right, we're for it. Okay, and
Okay.
so you've got your Pentecostal denominations such as like the Assemblies of God, Church of God. You've got just charismatic churches like Vineyard churches or whatever. So there's definitely like branches or denominations that are very much like pro the gift of speaking in tongues. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got other branches that are very much like against it. Like we do not believe in the gift of tongues. Okay.
Okay.
And so, especially like some of the fundamental or independent Baptist churches and some of the Southern Baptist churches and a lot of the Reformed churches, they're very much no gifts of the Spirit. Okay.
Okay.
And specifically the tongues, right? No gift of tongues. All right.
Wait. There's a part of this question that I didn't ask, I guess, because
Okay.
some of them believe that you can do it in public,
Yes.
and some of them believe that you shouldn't do it in public.
Yes.
But some of the people that believe that you shouldn't do it in public still believe that it's for today and you can do it. So what are you saying about these denominations, basically?
Yeah. So like all right, so most of like your Pentecostal charismatic denominations
Okay.
are like, yeah, the gift is to be used in private and public.
Okay.
And they may have different, like depending on the charismatic Pentecostal church, there may be a different like thought process of what that would look like publicly.
Okay.
Okay. Then you got others, like especially in more of the Baptist and Reformed world, where they're like, no speaking in tongues, like at all, private, publicly, no.
They don't believe it's for today.
Right, not for today.
Okay.
And so you do have like those like there, but then you do have some that like denominations that have individuals within those denominations that speak in tongues. And that, depending on the church itself, it's okay, right?
Oh.
And like where others go, no, not really. Like, so for example, I'll use the Methodist, kind of world.
Okay.
Like you've got some in the Methodist world that are like, nope, tongues, nope, and then you've got like some that are like, okay, tongues, but definitely not publicly.
Okay.
And then you've got others that are like, no, tongues, that's awesome. Gift of tongues is great, right? Publicly, privately, great.
Okay.
And so,
but you're saying like in a church service, they have like a designated person for it?
Yeah, or they'll have like a, right.
Is that what you were trying to insinuate?
Or like ways of handling it, okay?
Oh.
So like in some charismatic churches, like, or even Pentecostal churches, like Assemblies of God, I've seen this actually quite a bit in Assemblies of God churches, where like you've got to go to an elder or a pastor to be able to say, hey, I have a gift of tongues, or I have a word of prophecy.
Oh.
And then they will say yay or nay to you giving or delivering that word.
Okay.
Yeah. Or using that gift. And so...
Hi, I'd like to say nonsense in front of the church next week. Would it be okay if I did that?
Right. You would say use the word nonsense, so there's gift of tongues.
Yeah.
And then they would get yay or nay. Where you've got other charismatic churches where there's no guardrails, there's no filters, there's like anyone just speak up and say anything, right?
Okay.
And then like in using like the Methodist context. So I've been in Methodist churches where an individual would just like start in the midst of singing and stuff, just starts like speaking in tongues. And they know that this individual has a gift of tongues, that he's going to speak in tongues, and then afterwards interpret it.
That's like a baby crying on an airplane.
I mean, it's what it can seem like, especially if you're not used to it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Paul's addressing in 1 Corinthians 14, when he's like, hey, you know what? Sometimes it's just better not to use tongues at all, because if you do, they will think you're out of your mind.
Okay.
Okay. Especially if there's no interpreter, right? So I've been in Methodist churches where that's completely allowed. And then I've been in other Methodist churches where it was like, nope, don't ever use the gift of tongues publicly.
Okay.
And so all I'm saying is I think that there are definitely denominations that are like yes or no. And then I think you've got a lot of charismatics sprinkled within a lot of mainline denominations.
Okay.
So you've got charismatics, in the Methodist Church, in the Presbyterian Church, even in Southern Baptist churches.
Well, why do charismatics care about this so much?
Because for them, it's part of the way that God has, it's part of the gifts that God has given. So it's up there with God, and it's like we're getting to hear God speak, especially when it's connected with interpretation in a public setting. Okay. So we're getting to hear God speak. And then on the private, personal level, it's like, oh, this is a way that I can communicate with God personally. And so it's like this, like almost like, and I know we have a direct line, to the Lord. Is the way people will phrase it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's like a, and so it can come across like, well, this is like me just speaking directly to God, directly to the Lord. It's always the will of the Lord, and so it's like but I would say more than like a direct line kind of thing. It's more of just like that intimate personal relationship. Like, I'm not going to lie, like when I'm praying in tongues privately, like when I'm just, in spending time with the Lord and I'm just praying in tongues, like there is, for me, there's something about that just grabs my heart. And there is like this connection with the Lord that is present and real for me. And so I think as a charismatic, that for me, it's about the personal, intimate relationship with Jesus and the Lord, my private, but then also in the private space with the Lord, but then also hearing the Lord speak publicly, whether through prophetic words or through gift of tongues connected with the gift of interpretation, where you get to hear the Lord speak. Both of those are awesome. So,
all right. Well, I feel like I have more questions, but you know how when we talked about Catholics and you didn't like how Catholics pray to a saint or Mary, and then they go pray to Jesus on our behalf?
Yes.
Well, this is like the down version of that, where God's telling someone something, and then they say nonsense, and somebody else has to actually say what God actually said.
Okay.
Like, it just seems indirect and stupid. You know what I mean? Like, like, why don't you just tell the first person what you said, and then have them say what you said? I don't get it.
Like, in other words, okay. So what you're saying is, like, why use tongues at all? Right? I mean,
yeah, but I feel like that's a question for later. But that's just what I'm thinking right now. Like,
yeah,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Oh, by the way,
do that now, I guess.
Okay, yeah. And by the way, just real quick, what you mentioned the Catholics, there is a large contingent of charismatic Catholics.
Okay.
And so you've got a lot of charismatics in the Catholic Church. You have a lot of charismatics in the Anglican Church. And so, so those, what I'm saying is, like, you find charismatics really just about anywhere.
Do you agree more with Anglicans than Catholics about stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. Because,
anyway, that's a side question.
Yeah, side question. Because, and real quick, a lot of, because of the way the Anglicans, they're not talking about, like, they're like, there's no Mary dogmas, right? There's no praying to the saints, no purgatory, like things like that. I'm definitely in agreement more with the Anglicans.